there wasn't any more ketchup except the ones on the receipt, so I dipped it in the receipt and I ate some of the receipt. It was
Eat a receipt?
Yeah.
Is it ready?
It is ready. Hello, everyone.
Whoa!
Yeah!
Welcome to the Inanimate Sanity, episode 14 live stream.
Woo!
Yeah, so we've got the core four here, along with obviously the people I mentioned before. So we're good.
Yeah, but don't forget about me. I'm also on an
What? Who?
Oh yeah,
Oh my
I'm Michael Bruzzone. I play Lightbulb, but I'm also, I'd like to think I was the master behind AnimationEpic, but when we got to 8th grade, that's when Adam, we started watching Battle for Dream Island, and he came up with this idea in art class, like, oh, I'm gonna create a show like this, and I was like, what, are you crazy? You're never gonna be able to do that. Just, like, how much work that, I was like, dude, I told you, I thought it was gonna be not gonna be an epic failure, but like it was amazing.
AnimationEpic failure, exactly.
Yeah.
AnimationEpic failure. It was like the best thing. This is amazing. I never could have imagined it would have gone this far. He basically tells me whenever the lines are ready, and so I come over. But then so I go into Adam's closet, and this way, the noise. This way, just to get rid of all the background noise. Normally we go like line by line, and then a lot of times, I'll try and think of something else. Like if it needs a little bit of a change, or I don't know, if it needs a little bit more of Lightbulb spin, I put on it.
My favorite one that you threw in there was when you're like, oh, well, the locker butt up in the clink.
Oh, yeah. Michael, are you aware of how iconic the Lightbulb eating noise from season 2, episode 3 is? And
The nyam nyam.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, I didn't know that was gonna be I didn't know that we were gonna use that. I think I just made it. That was another one of the lines. Adam was just like, all right, so put some extra noise in. And I was like I'm coughing, or like I'm doing some like weird, like throwing up. I don't know.
Michael will eat anything.
Honestly, he said it was not
anything.
Spectacular.
Yeah, even in real life, I do eat anything, I guess.
Is that a challenge?
I think one time we went bowling, or maybe, I went bowling one time, and I ended up eating a receipt somehow. It was mixed in with the ketchup, I think, or like it got touched on, I dipped it in the ketchup, I think, because I had like chicken fingers, and the ketchup spilled on the receipt, and I needed to eat, there wasn't any more ketchup except the ones on the receipt, so I dipped it in the receipt, and I ate some of the receipt. It was
Eat a receipt?
Yeah, I think this might have been when we went bowling, or...
Sir, can we see your receipt, please? Oh, I don't have it anymore. Sorry.
I ate it.
I didn't eat the whole thing. I'm not a savage.
Oh, of course. No, what you did was completely normal.
We have our next awesome special guest here today, the voice of Tango, Rheagan Rizio.
Yeah!
Rheagan, hello.
Hi.
So what was that process like, kind of watching that all unfold?
Yeah, it was very different watching it as the whole episode versus recording, because again, even though I kind of knew where it was going, it's an animated show, so the animation, the drawings, everything, it brings everything to life so well in a way that just the words alone don't do. So that was really cool, and I feel like this episode had a lot of really great unspoken moments, unspoken jokes, unspoken big moments, whatever. The entire end with Taco, everything that happens there, I didn't know that happened. So that was really cool because I didn't say anything, but so much happened with her character on screen. So that was kind of fun to see, and I'm excited to see what you guys come up with.
When Microphone eliminated herself, did she accidentally get attached to Mike? Ooh.
I think definitely. I think not in this episode, but in the last episode, there's that interaction back and forth with Knife where he's kind of goading her about what happened to her other partner, and she doesn't want to say, and then she finally does. I think that there's a part of her that went into her partnership with Microphone because, she wanted to have somebody in the competition and she wanted to keep working, and I think it started like that, but I think working together, she got attached in kind of you're so cute, thanks for helping me out, whatever type of way. The fact that that Microphone heard all those things about her from Knife and still didn't sell her out at the end, and kind of saw a little bit more like what she was and still stood up for her against other people. I think that like meant something to her. I don't think she's had somebody do that for her before. So I think that she is sad that Microphone is gone in her own strange little way.
What kind of tea does Taco drink?
So I think normally in the morning, Taco has just very strong, nothing else added to it, green tea to get that caffeine boost to get ready for a long day of plotting and planning. If it's been a good day, she might have like black tea like with cream added so it actually tastes good. At the end of the episode, after everything, feeling like she's won but also being sad because she's lost her friend and she's all torn and doesn't know where to go, I feel like she'd have something nice and calming, like maybe some peppermint or like maybe chamomile.
Yeah,
Those are
fantastic.
fantastic answers.
Yeah.
I'd imagine she wouldn't go for lemon tea because it probably reminds her of vomit from the earlier season.
Taco would enjoy lemon tea.
I was gonna say, in that case, I think she'd like it as like a sign of her intelligence.
Anything
I think
interesting?
a general sentiment is people want to hear a little of the Taco voice.
I know what you're gonna say. Oh no, you murdered him.
A new guest. He is our new music composer for Inanimate Insanity, and also a very dear personal friend of mine. Please welcome the great John Mietus.
Woo!
Well, can you describe what you do for the show specifically?
Yes.
Yeah, every time you feel an emotion, it's because of me. I'm
I thought my writing was pretty okay.
That was such a good answer. Oh my god.
So I wrote the music in a very general sense, but of course, as you see in the credits, everyone helped perform the music, from me to some of my colleagues to my ceiling fan. So yes.
Yeah.
Which I've drawn on stream already.
Thank you.
We have to explain.
We wanted these prime shimmer scenes to not sound like anything in the show before, because it hadn't really been done before, and it was a really wild step to introduce, for lack of a better word, aliens. I literally took an iPhone voice memo of my ceiling fan, because my ceiling fan broke in the middle of summer, so I was like, oh my god, I'm dying, but also it's making a cool sound, so hey. And then I had all of my musicians, my string instrumentalists, put paper between their strings and bow over the strings in the paper, which makes a super crunched and rattly sound that might not be normal to the human ear. It is extremely, let's say, ambitious, and I'll say it for Chad and everyone listening. They were basically yeah, we want all of these themes, and we want all of them to intersect, and we want all of them to do all these things. Yeah, I mean, that's happening in almost every scene. I mean, when Knife confronts Mike, but then also, so those two are fighting and they're taking over or adopting characteristics of each other. But then Taco's in the background. So when Taco's in the background, that is I think the one scene where there's all three are going on in unison without it sounding like a chaotic mess, and that was really fun for me. So Test Tube Tango, I am so blown away that this organic hashtag and movement, what'd you say, trending number 45, 46 on nationally?
Something like that in the country. Yeah.
I am 1,000,000% dedicated to creating Test Tube Tango. There might or might not already be a first draft in the works. And for anyone who's just getting into this type of stuff, I think the number one thing you can do is collaborate, and the number two thing is listen. Listen to your favorite music, and listen to the music you love, and ask yourself, why do I love this? What did they do? It inspires me or makes me feel some type of way. Being able to reproduce those emotions is a joyous craft unlike any other.
Right back in to our next awesome special guest. He is the background designer and painter for Inanimate Insanity. Please welcome the great Sean Thurlow. Sean, how are you doing today?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. How are you guys doing? Funny enough, one of the scenes that I had really fun with this last episode was the scene with water, and I really enjoy painting water. It's really difficult, but whenever I paint a beach scene, or if there's waves and stuff, I really get into it. So as of late, I've been trying to make sure that a lot of my environments incorporate water. Yeah, the front trees here, it's all on a separate layer basically, and I group them. And then with the grass, we have this here as a separate layer. And then with this background trees here, mid ones, we have that as a layer. So it's on a separate layer. So yeah, this is kind of like what we did with most of the backgrounds. And by separating things like this in separate layers, you can make it a lot easier to animate and move things around. So this is what I did actually with all your backgrounds, is I took the storyboards and I plopped them in as a invisible layer basically. So I could always turn it on and off, so I can kind of get a general idea of placement. But like this book right here, like I leveled up basically when I went through this book, Composition of Outdoor Painting, basically by Edgar Payne. I can't recommend enough that you study from life, that you get outside, and you paint what you see. The great thing about the iPad is I'm actually going to start taking that to a park that's just down the street, and I'm just going to paint the landscapes that are in front of me. And even if you can't do that, if you don't have the paints, if you just go outside with your sketch pad and do some drawings in there, that's like something that I highly recommend, is you just start filling your sketchbook with those studies, and then of course you do your own stuff as well.
We have the voice of MePhone-Story himself, my dad actually, the great Mark Katz. Dad, are you there?
Oh, I can't believe I have to do this live stream now. But better to do with my time. I have 2 words. Sour cream.
There's a lot of dramatic scenes now that carries, and really sold by that performance.
It takes a lot of work. In the beginning, quite frankly, I was terrified. And even though you're just recording in a closet in my son's bedroom, that millions of people, or at least millions of views, are going to happen. And I was stiff and I was uncomfortable, and trying to find the emotion and to not just recite the lines, but actually put yourself into the scene and find that perspective and have the confidence to just dig a little bit deeper. And it takes time. And I really had to push myself, and I had to find that. And it really wasn't easy. It didn't come naturally at all. Thankfully, I had a very good director. I had him beat the crap out of me. No, say it again. No, like this, Dad. And then he would do it, and then I would do it, and I thought I did it just like him, and he'd be like, oh, it's not how I did it.
What episode does Mark like the most, MePhone-wise?
Oh, wow.
Oh, probably the one when I was in jail.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
But I sang in that episode, but it never made it into the episode. Swing low, sweet chariot.
There it was.
It was real method acting. Like you actually went to prison for that episode, right?
I felt it.
Now it's us. Now we're the ones who are in. We're the ones in control now. What was the line that Dan says? We're the masters of our own
fate now.
But we're gonna be starting on 15 soon. I know that this is probably the biggest FAQ, which is what about 15? When's 15 gonna start?
100%, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean we have a plan for 15, not a full plan, but we have a plan.
From Animation Pineapple, did you always have a plan for what the Prime Shimmers would look like in your mind, or was it designed before the episode?
I sat down and I just kind of drew up a few different designs, and this one I had was what if the crack in the egg ended up becoming the mouth, and then these eyes opened up, and then little legs. And when it came down to discussing, the species, we had all different ideas.
One of them was one of the older ideas, whereas each egg would have 2 mini creatures, subspecies within it. One was an eel, and one was the shell itself, and the eel would just be perpetually wrapped around the egg. And there was just a lot of metaphorical stuff going on about the giver and the taker in a relationship. There was that idea we were considering for a little while, and that Baxter would be one of the species of the alien. So in theory, that would be 3 eggs stolen from the Shimmers, and then the concept there was just that depending on where this crab-like being was born would change its design. So Baxter was a very earthly crab, and the egg would hatch onto the ship, and then it would become a very techie-looking crab.
And we loved the idea that these beings are 2 or more inside the egg. These beings are actually the balls of light that are inside and outside the eggs, and the shells are just shells.
Right.
You know, including even like the arms and the spears and even the Prime Shimmer's crown is a being. I remember Justin was very particular about like, oh, they could fly in and out and they could swap places. They could
Yeah, it's very much make sure that it's clear that these are individual species.
Yeah.
Yep.
With each glow itself is one entity, but then they become this hive mind when grouped.
Right.
Why did you guys decide Mike had to go? Really hope you guys answer.
Microphone, I think we always had the broad strokes of that arc in place because we start laying the seeds overtly for Taco in episode 7 and like the post-credit scene, but we knew that it would build to a point of Microphone quitting and being the one to kind of cut things off.
And you know, a lot of Microphone's story, even going back to the very first episode, was that she just really wanted to be heard by people. Which obviously is a play on to the fact that she's Microphone. You know, when she was finally, quote unquote, heard by someone like Taco, it got her very excited, but took her in a direction where that was something she was obsessive over, was feeling heard. You know, all was said and done, we just really wanted it to end on the fact that she just really needed to hear herself for once and realize that she's okay without that, you know, general approval.
The important part is her instinctual, act to help in that moment, and that's that was the main reason why the big ladder was happening in the first place. Microphone needs a moment when she hasn't been a part of the team. She's been isolated, and if she gets the chance to, she's going to realize how much she likes it, and that she hasn't. That's not what she's been doing.
An old idea was that when the aliens showed up and after they abduct Fan, there was this idea that they could have the power to basically flip people's personalities. It was weird.
Yes.
I even had the idea of altering their colors so they looked kind of wrong, making Lightbulb orange and making Knife, pink or something. Man, who would also be affected by this personality switch, that he's no longer a fan of the show, but he's become the world's largest critic, and he hates absolutely everything on the show, including the background, including the props. Oh, the design for this prison is so bad. I mean, it looks so flat. And the aliens be like, what are you talking about? And he just walk out from behind it and be like, that wasn't even layered correctly.
And honestly, it really came down to that we have such limited time with these characters. So we just really wanted to take the time to focus on them while we have them.
Typically after an episode, we have a certain amount of materials that we want to get out there that relate to episode 14. That being things like best ofs, animatics, voice acting videos. Those are all coming your way within the coming weeks. We do have a roadmap right now, and our goal is to, for the foreseeable future, long term, be getting videos out on a weekly basis for every Saturday from this point forward. That being either a video that relates to 14 or something entirely new that we're working on in progress right now. Yeah. Or a live stream. So something coming to you each weekend.
Really going to try to do for every Saturday. So just kind of keep your eyes out for that. And we hope you guys are really excited for that too.
Yes. 100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, awesome.
Thank you, viewers, for checking everything out. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your viewership. It's time to scream.
I'm screaming.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
We always end with a scream in 3, 2, 1. Ah!